Hello Wolfpack, we're analysing Bitcoin Cash or BCH today on the USD pairs, and we've got a Bitcoin pair, and we're going to be going over some of the supply and circulating supply, max supply kind of stuff. But if you want a more in-depth fundamental analysis on Bitcoin Cash, scroll back on my channel to about a month or 2 months ago. I did a Bitcoin Cash analysis going over the fundamentals and some of the TA at the time, but this was largely before this breakout we've seen in July. So obviously we have to have an update here to kind of go over what's happening on Bitcoin Cash because we do have some massive revelations, and this video is mainly concerning the TA. So if we jump straight into the TA, I'm kind of expecting a large price movement on Bitcoin Cash quite soon. What we can see here on Bitcoin Cash. All right, now, before we get into this cup and handle formation we have here, we can see that this entire region back in February to around May looks very, very similar to what's happened here. We had a correction in February, as you can see here. We came down, and that's similar to the correction we had in May. It's just on a larger scale. We made a double bottom here in June and July, and we also made a double bottom here before moving up. We caught some, brief resistance at this red resistance box, as you can see over here in February, in which we caught some brief resistance at here in May as well, and we're catching some right now. So we had some brief resistance there, and then we ultimately made a exponential move up out of this box of around 52%, and that ultimately led to local highs on Bitcoin Cash for this bull run in the coming months after that. However, we can see that this is pretty clearly this formation here, this massive pattern in this circle, what we're seeing here on a much larger scale, and that's due to the fact that it's taken longer to play out, and the correction at the start was much larger. So what we can expect is actually a much larger move as well. And looking at this pattern of what we're seeing here, we didn't really see this kind of pattern here. We're seeing a cup and handle formation form out where we have this nice rounded bottom, and then we entered a descending channel, and we've broken out of that descending channel, confirming the breakout, confirming the cup and handle formation. We also have this kind of secondary cup here that we can just add in there for a little bit of supported TA, and we're breaking out to the upside, testing this $820 resistance zone. And once we see a breakout of that resistance zone, once we see a daily candle close over that resistance zone, this move will be confirmed, and we'll definitely be seeing something similar to what we saw in this spike out. All-time highs could be on the way. Local highs could be on the way here for Bitcoin Cash in the coming months, and potentially even the coming weeks, depending on how volatile this move can get, because this coin, historically, when it has broken out of this red region, it has moved exponentially. I mean, we can see in this one daily candle we saw here on May the 5th, we moved from 900 USD to 1,400 USD in just one daily candle. So, this coin is known to move very quickly. It's known to be, bought up in the hype, and that's probably due to the fact that it has the name Bitcoin. It has the attention due to the fact that it has the name Bitcoin. This cup and handle formation, if we measure the move, what you do with cup and handle formations is you measure from the bottom of the cup to the top of the descending channel breakout area, which was around here at $648, roughly anyway. And then we can place that on top of the bottom of the channel, and we can see that this breakout should be moving to around $886. Obviously, that's a rough guideline of what's actually meant to be happening, but that basically tells us that we should be moving over this red resistance box, and then what we've seen when we've moved over this red resistance box in the past is spikes upwards. So it's definitely a good buy signal, and what we actually could be seeing as well is a move up to this $886 line here, as shown by the cup and handle formation, a move back down to flip this box for support, as we saw here in April. When we moved up, we came back down, flipped it for support, and then made an even bigger move into May, and we could be seeing something similar to that. So flipping it for support and then making an even bigger move into new bull market highs for Bitcoin Cash. Now, if we look at the weekly chart on Bitcoin Cash, we can see that we're actually nowhere near our all-time high on Bitcoin Cash. We reached our all-time high on Bitcoin Cash at $4,300 in the last bull market as it came onto the market for the first time. So obviously there was a lot of hype surrounding that. However, I think it could definitely reach that point again. And Looking at Bitcoin Cash here, we see we have this gradual upwards trend, which means that it's actually growing on a long-term basis as well. And we could be seeing, before the end of this bull market, a spike up to new all-time highs, and then coming way back down and holding this trend line for support down at $400, $500 before waiting for the next bull market, bouncing off of it a few times until the next bull market, and then spiking up again, obviously, but that would probably be in 3 to 4 years from now. However, that is a supporting factor for long-term holding of Bitcoin Cash, and it has this added support because of the fact that it has the name Bitcoin. It has that extra security that other altcoins won't have. It's not really going to go anywhere, to the best of our knowledge. If you think that Bitcoin's going to be sticking around, it's highly likely that Bitcoin Cash would be sticking around. And a lot of people say that, what makes you say that? Because Bitcoin Diamond and, all the other Bitcoin, hard forks that have come out have kind of fallen out of favor in the market. Well, Bitcoin Diamond still spikes during bull markets, and Bitcoin Diamond doesn't have nearly the use case as Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is accepted on basically every single, payment option by big companies that Bitcoin is accepted. It's usually what they do is when, for example, in PayPal, you can pay in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin, and that's usually the standard for every single, retail adoption of Bitcoin Cash, institutional adoption as well. It's got a use case and it's accepted in multiple places, and there's communities actually using Bitcoin Cash, unlike Bitcoin Diamond, which is largely useless. So that is the difference, and that's why Bitcoin Cash should be sticking around. Obviously, as improvements come to the Bitcoin network as well, we might be expecting Bitcoin Cash's use case to go down as payments get faster and prices get lower, because Bitcoin Cash was originally invented, to be cash. Not necessarily to be cash, but to be acting like cash in the sense that it's going to be used for everyday payments and things like that. Regardless, it's still got use case. It's still got, adoption happening on a mass scale, just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum, just like Litecoin. So if we look into the USD pair here, we can make a price prediction on Bitcoin Cash. Now that it's hard to make a price prediction on coins that are this far away from their all-time highs, but what we can actually do is we can think about Bitcoin. Bitcoin reached an all-time high this year of 64K, according to my prediction that it's going to reach an all-time high of 120K by December to April. That's taking into account for the 4-year cycle theory and the lengthening cycles and diminishing returns theory. Possibly in the earlier part of that prediction, I will be expecting it. But 120K is essentially my prediction to 150K. Taking the lower part of that estimate, we can assume that Bitcoin is going to double from its all-time high to reach my prediction, and therefore altcoins generally outperform Bitcoin on a 50%, plus 50% basis. So we can assume that Bitcoin Cash will triple when Bitcoin doubles, and we're tripling from this high made here in May. So if we look at a 200% gain from this high made in May, we can see that Bitcoin Cash will probably reach, according to this prediction, around $5,000 in this bull market, putting it just above its previous all-time high. And then we have to also take into account that once the coin breaks its all-time high, it also tends to go parabolic for a time. So we'll probably be going higher than that point, but that's probably a decent psychological resistance zone to start taking profits, at least some profits, 25%, 50% profits, waiting for extensive breakouts and possibly buying back in when it goes higher. But 5,000 USD seems reasonable to me. It's only a little bit above its all-time high. That's what I'm going to be looking at for Bitcoin Cash. And, even from current prices, 5,000 USD is still a massive return of around, 550%, so 5.5x. You can't really complain with that. If we look at the Bitcoin pair briefly before we end this video, we could see that, what is there to say on the Bitcoin pair? It's slowly dying, just like most, Bitcoin pairs and altcoins. But what we can observe with the Bitcoin pair that is favorable is that the gaps between, and all of these black lines are resistance zones, the gaps between these resistance zones get bigger and bigger and bigger as the, amount of sats per Bitcoin Cash goes up. So as we get higher on the Bitcoin pair, the gaps between resistance get bigger, which means the moves will be bigger, which means essentially breaking it down into, English context, as Bitcoin Cash gains traction, it will gain more traction. So it will go, the moves will get way more volatile, way more spiky as it gets higher and higher. That seems like common sense, but not necessarily the case for every coin. So Bitcoin Cash, as it starts gaining value, it's basically saying that more and more people are going to be FOMOing into it, and the Bitcoin pair will be, going up exponentially, as well as the Bitcoin Cash USD price. So 5,000 is my prediction, by the end of this bull market, which could be Q1 next year. By most predictions, who would say that could possibly go into Q2 next year, depending on how the lengthening cycles theory plays out. But I would definitely be looking to take profits in that region of Q1 and potentially towards the end of the year as well. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.